Hey, I was watching my solo travel villain origin story time, and it inspired me to tell another story time. So if you haven't watched that yet, you can watch it at the link above. I'll put a little linky loo somewhere up here. Today I want to talk about the times that I was in imminent danger. Yeah, or just sketchy situations, because I was not as street smart when I first started traveling alone as I am now, at all. Luckily I wasn't super young, but I was not street smart, and so that makes you naive, right? And being naive is really dangerous. And I have since learned so many more safety tips for traveling in general, but also especially traveling alone as a woman is so much more dangerous than a man, and men will never have any idea what it's like.
Try being my size, Amy. You don't know how it is. There's stuff you can do.
Okay, so anyways, the first one, it wasn't really scary, but it was sketchy in hindsight, and I should have not put myself in that position. But I was in Honolulu for my birthday, and my birthday dream that year was to go swimming in the ocean and put on my bathing suit, and I got going right away because I wanted to just get right in there, and it's warm enough there that you can do it all year round. It's just so majestic. So anyways, I pop out my hotel, and immediately this man is like, "Yo girl, what's up?" I don't know, I was in such a good mood because I'm doing my favorite thing on my birthday, which is traveling. I said, "It's my birthday," and he was like, "Oh, happy birthday, can I buy you a shot?" And I was like younger, so I was into that. Also just random, but it was 8 a.m. so I was like, where? But they have these stores there called ABC, and they have like sealed individual shooters you can buy. So he got us shots. I think they were tequila, but I don't remember. And we took it, which is kind of a crazy breakfast. And then he was walking with me, and I was like, I'm going swimming. And I was planning to go to the main Waikiki beach, which is normally way overpacked. So anyways, he's like, "Oh, I know a better spot." So I went with him, which I would never do now. And we're walking and talking, and he tells me that he's a rapper and going to perform at a adult dance club later that night, if you know what I mean. And I was like, oh, what word can I use? We'll say it rhymes with shrimp. I'm gonna use the word shrimp because YouTube censorship. I said, "Are you a shrimp?" And he said, "Oh no, girl. If I was one, I would have to tell you when you asked." I don't remember what he said after that, but we got to this beach, and it was a nice beach, but no one else was there. That's the really dangerous part, and it was kind of in this like weird quiet area. Still right downtown, but just no one was around, I guess because it was so early. And we're sitting on this picnic table thing, and I was telling him about how I ended up being there alone because of the guy that couldn't get into Mexico. We were just chatting, and I was getting kind of annoyed that he wouldn't leave because I wanted to swim, but I wanted to like leave all my stuff on the shore. Like, I may not have been street smart, but I wasn't that down to just like leave all my belongings. I didn't bring my wallet or anything, but even my hotel key. And he said, "I'll be right back. I just want to go get my swim shorts." And I said, "Oh, are you actually coming back?" And he said, "Yeah, girl, I wouldn't do you like that." He never came back, which is actually really funny. And just also like, why would you lie? I don't care. I don't even know you. Like, you barged in on my birthday swim. So that was just like a very strange situation that happened. And I I don't think it was bad that I was friendly with him, but I think it was reckless to let him show me that other beach and also to tell him that I was alone. And then also on that trip, my birthday night, I went to dinner. I was leaving and I was just gonna walk back to my hotel because it was very close. I was just at a different hotel that had a nice restaurant. And these 3 young guys came and talked to me, which was seemed fine at first. But then I realized I was in like a dark parking lot and no one else was around. And then one of them started filming me, and not in a, actually it was a blatant way. He started filming me and they asked me a really inappropriate question. And that's when it like clicked into me that I was in a very dangerous situation.
You in danger, girl.
I remember saying, "Why are you filming me?" And then I just sped walk out of there and my heart started racing. I had like a delayed reaction to the situation. And it may have been harmless, but it may have not. And that's just why you need to avoid those situations. So, gosh, I'm having a memory. Okay, I wasn't as dumb as once thought. I think after my morning blunder, I remembered to be street smart. One of the boys said, "Are you alone?" And I said, "No, my friend's asleep in the room." And he said, "She's lying." I was so appalled. How did he know I was lying? I'm such a bad liar. I don't know how he knew. But that's also like a really weird thing to ask someone. Like, I think I was in danger. So I booked it out of there. My heart was racing. I walked the fastest I've ever walked. I don't think I ran, but I definitely was not. And I remember this like panic feeling of, oh my God, should I call someone? Should I call a taxi? I'm like, no, it's literally just across the crosswalk. Like, it was so close, but I just should not have been friendly to them. I should have kept it moving and not even engaged at all, just given that it was dark, it was a parking lot, and for some reason no one else was around. I don't know why. It's not like it was that late. This next situation happened to me in Monterey, California, and I was staying in this motel, which was very affordable, but what thing I did not consider when booking it is that motels don't have interior hallways, which I knew, but I don't know why it never clicked for me that that's relevant, because I've always stayed in hotels. So why that matters is anyone who may be looking at the building can tell exactly what room you're in, and they often have windows, and they're usually old for some reason. I guess no one builds motels anymore, but they usually have like old thin windows and rickety doors. They just do not scream security. So I felt uncomfortable immediately, and I probably should have just changed to a hotel, but I didn't. And it's another thing I've learned with wisdom is to, if you get an inkling to do something like that, just do it. Don't talk yourself out of it. It's better to be safe than sorry, and also to just have a more peaceful existence, not be like worried about it. So I stayed, but I felt really nervous, and that Monterey is kind of like rough, like not in the day in the tourist areas, but the energy in Monterey has a roughness to it. It's hard to explain it. So one night I'm tweezing my eyebrows in the mirror, and this motel had the sketchiest mirror I've ever seen, and I regret not investigating it more closely because what the heck. So it looked like a fake mirror, and it was mounted on a wall, but it was wobbly, like it wasn't against a wall. There was a hollowness behind it. It was very strange, and I just had this weird feeling about it. So I was always in my towel or my robe in front of that mirror. Or maybe not one time, which disturbs me to this day. So anyways, I'm in this mirror tweezing my eyebrows, and when I tweeze my eyebrows, I get really close. Like I hit the tweezers on the mirror sometimes because I'm just like locked in doing it. I miss my vanity at home when I travel. And the power shuts off, and it was like 1 a.m. So luckily my phone was charged, but it's pitch black. There's no 24-hour concierge, which was another thing of this motel that I didn't pay attention to that was scary when you're by yourself. So I didn't want to open the door and look outside at what was happening. And I know California has power blackouts sometimes. So I believe I looked that up in my phone and it didn't say anything. And I called the front desk even though I knew no one was there, because I just thought maybe the owner might have the phone, because it was just a small business motel. And nothing, so it's pitch black. I felt so scared. My heart was racing. I just felt very alone and uncertain and nervous. And I didn't cry, but I was definitely like, what are you up to? Like, why are you in this situation? And then it came back on, I think, an hour later. And I looked on the power website the next day and it said no outages. So I have this conspiracy theory that there was a hidden camera behind that mirror, and that because I was getting so close to it, the owner shut down the fuse, because maybe they thought I was like seeing the camera, because I was literally like this far from the glass. Or that's paranoid and it was just a... But who has a power outage at a motel for an hour? So I have no way of knowing if it was my unit only or the other units. And I mentally was going to call the power company because it was just like not sitting well with me. And the owner emailed me back on Expedia the next day, because I messaged Expedia saying my concerns. I just wanted to document it. Not about the mirror, but just like the power outage. Like, am I in a third world country? Like, where is the electricity? It was really scary in a different way, just like a creepy, disturbing way. We'll never know the truth about that unless someone goes back to investigate. But I didn't like that. I learned from that never to book a motel again, which is really inconvenient because I love California, and California has so many little motels like that. It's like very much a part of their scene, and it's not fair. I want to stay at affordable places. You know what? That's not true. I booked one in San Diego last time I went there, but only out of desperation because San Diego's pretty expensive. And I really wanted to stay a bit longer. But I did feel scared. And remember those mochi donuts I ate? I got those DoorDashed. And the driver couldn't speak English at all for some reason. I don't know why he couldn't just Google Translate my writing. I gave him exact instructions of how to find my door because it was kind of a big building. And I'm not even kidding, he was not delivering them for 20 minutes. And I got so weirded out because I wondered what is going on with my donuts. Like, are they being groped? So finally, they got delivered and they looked completely fine, and I really wanted to eat them, so I did eat them. But I found that very odd. Who would wait that long to drop off donuts? So I heard that some girls changed their name to a guy's name on the app so that if anyone's feeling creepy, they're less inclined to be curious about you. But truly, what was he doing out there for that long? We were having a standoff because it was dark. There's no way I'm going out to get these mochi donuts in this dark parking lot, sir. And why wouldn't he just bring them to the front counter of the hotel and leave them there? It's very strange. So my scariest circumstances both happened in Barcelona. One, I had gone to dinner. I was staying in the Gothic Quarter, and the Gothic Quarter is scary at night because the roads are alleys. They're all alleys. So, safety 101, you don't go into dark alleys. Ever. Preferably. But in the Gothic Quarter, you have no choice. And unfortunately, my hotel was on the edge of a real road and the Gothic Quarter. So I went to this restaurant in the Gothic Quarter in an alley, but it was really busy out when I went there, so it seemed okay. I believe it was dark because it was a birthday trip. My birthday's in the winter, so it's almost always dark out wherever I go. And this girl came up to me and asked if I wanted to have dinner with her. She was alone as well, which I thought was really friendly and cool. So we sat at the bar together and talked. And we really like vibed and had fun. She was from New York and on a work trip. And because I was with her, I felt more confident, I guess, to stay out later. So after dinner, we tried to go to this dance place, but it wasn't open or something. And then we were just walking together. And she sprints across the road, blows me a kiss, gets in a cab, and leaves. Just like that, out of nowhere. It was so weird. I've never had a girl do that before. I don't know if that's like a New York thing to just dip out on people, but I felt abandoned because I was out by myself after dark, and I don't know, it was just so quick that it happened. I can't remember if she asked if I wanted to share a cab or not, but I think we were like within a block of my hotel. So it turns out I could have stayed on this main road, but I didn't know that, and I was so feeling frightened just by suddenly being alone with no one else around in a strange city that's really big. Actually, it's a huge city. So I just decided to go back the way I knew right away, which is actually right by the Barcelona Cathedral courtyard. And I was in kind of a flashy outfit. I didn't realize how understated people dress there. So I'm walking down the last stretch of alley, and this homeless man looks at me, and I like clocked him, but I didn't look at him, and I notice he's following me, and so I speed up and he speeds up, and he wasn't running, but he was walking very fast right behind me. I've never at that time been followed like that before, where I knew I was being followed and I was all alone in a dark alley. And it was probably not that long, but it felt like a lifetime to get to my hotel doors. And previously, it was a nice hotel, and they would just open and you'd be right in the lobby. I get to the hotel doors, they don't open. That's when I really felt that fear feeling. And luckily the front desk clerk stood up. I can't remember if I pressed the button or if maybe he sensed that I was there. I probably rang a bell. He stood up and unlocked the door. I walk inside, homeless man walks inside. The clerk comes around and shoos him away. But the clerk wasn't very big as a man. I didn't really feel like he was very good for security, but still, men are strong in general. So that was really scary. I don't know if he just wanted to take my purse or something worse, but I've never been followed my whole life like that. And it was really a scary feeling. And then on my last day, I was in a gift shop and I came out and this guy was on one of those electric scooters and he was just being friendly to me. And I did not have a very good experience in Barcelona. It was the most unfriendly place I've ever been. I've never felt less welcome anywhere in my entire life. Truly, that was a crazy experience. So when this person was being friendly to me, it was so welcomed because I was really missing the friendliness of even Canada. I was like yearning for that warmth from people. So anyways, he's being really nice, and I think I told him I was alone. So dumb. So he follows me to the mall because I was gonna go get a gift for my nephew. And we're just chatting, and then he asked if I wanted to go get a drink. And I said, sure. So he takes me, he's like, oh, I just have to drop this scooter off. You know, the little, are they scooters? Not like a moped, but the standing kind. So we're in this courtyard because the whole area is just these weird courtyards and alleys. This was the day though, mind you. I wasn't being as dumb as before. And he's in this place for so long. And then he comes out and he says, ride this scooter. And I was so confused. I'm like, why does he still have this scooter? I thought he was putting it in his office. Oh yeah, he said he worked at a scooter rental place, by the way. That's why the scooter needed to come out to the office, allegedly. And I didn't want to because I'm scared of them and I don't want to fall and get injured. And he insisted so many times that I gave in, which is not very much like my personality. I'm actually surprised that I did. So I like ride the scooter down the end of the alley and I turned it around and he's filming me. And I thought that was weird, but not in like a danger feeling way. I just clocked it as the whole situation was odd. I was like, that's weird. I just kept saying that's weird in my head. That's your warning sign, by the way. I made a video about this story, but I took it down. I might put it back up, but I'll just retell it now. Yeah, so in hindsight, that's a very alarming situation. Why was he filming me like that in a very unnatural, pre-planned, forced way? So stupidly, I stayed hanging out with him. He puts the scooter back in. He says, let's go to this bar. Luckily, it was a bar that I had gone to the day before by myself because it's really popular. It's all decorated like a forest. It's so pretty. I was in my fairy obsessed era, so I needed to go there. So it's all decked out like a forest. It looks like Disneyland. But it was kind of weird because it was more, well, I guess bars are like this. I was gonna say more like a cafe where you go to the bar and order and bring your own drink to your table. They don't have cocktail servers. So I knew that from yesterday or the day before. So we get there and I go to the counter with him and he's like, oh, you can go sit down. And I just stood there because I want to watch my drink. Like, I'm not brand new on earth. I'm still with him, which was dumb, but I knew at least to watch my drink. So I saw it being poured and I took it right away. But then while we were talking, there was a few times I like looked away from it and I just had a feeling not to drink it. And I didn't even want to drink. I just wanted the fun social interaction. So anyways, we leave and we're walking back. I didn't want to like show him where I was staying. I had switched hotels at this point, so I was in a different, more open area, less alleyways, thankfully. So we're on this bridge right in the main marina, Barcelona, by the big Ferris wheel thing. And I remember looking over the bridge and thinking, oh, I hope he doesn't throw me over this bridge. Which is a very strange thought to have. Why would you think that? And I think that was me picking up on the bad vibes, but maybe just not calibrating them properly. Because I wouldn't typically have that concern on a bridge with anyone else ever. That's not like a normal thing to have cross your mind, at least in my reality. And then he takes me to this door that goes underground to an underground parkade. And I can't remember his words now. It's probably in my other video, but he's trying to convince me to go in the parkade. And I said, no, I'm not going down there. And he was just being very insistent. And I was like, no. And then all of a sudden, I just like clued in to like, why are you still here?
You in danger, girl.
Like, you know how when you're in threat, you can have fawn, which is appease the threat, fight, which is get aggressive with the threat, and maybe even physical, but it's like anger, and then freeze, which is the deer in headlights. So I think I was having the freeze response for sure, because why was I still there? And I was just kind of like watching it all happen, but not reacting properly. So finally I snap out of it. I book it out of there, and I'm going fast again with the speed walking. And I'm looking behind me because I don't know what he had planned, but I don't think it was good. It was scary. Looking back, all of these things that happened, all were very bad signs that something bad was going to happen to me. So I got back to my hotel room, and I remember falling asleep right away, which I found interesting because I did have some sips of my drink before I stopped. So I don't know if I was just tired or if there was perhaps something in it. It's scary to think of, but the whole experience, I didn't really like put it all together until I got back to the hotel, and I was realizing all those weird little things that happened, and just the danger of it all. Like, why? It's basically I learned to be don't tell people you're alone, and then probably you can tell you're lying, but still don't tell them. And B, next time I get that's weird, I just dip out. I don't care if I'm being paranoid. I'd rather not find out the hard way. Or I've never had this happen since, but if I'm hanging with someone and I hope they don't throw me off a bridge, like, I'm gonna also dip out of there immediately. Because what even is that? That's crazy. I can laugh about it now because I escaped unscathed, but what if it went differently? Okay, I'll see you soon.